My son sold my land for $12 million and didn't even bother to tell me. I found out 1 hour before Thanksgiving dinner. The same dinner that was supposed to bring the whole family together under one roof. The wind off the prairie slapped me in the face, but it wasn't half as cold as Todd's words. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. Dad, you need to hear it from me first. The farm's sold. Deal's closed. He said it like a stockbroker, not a son. My own son. Like I was some retired accountant who didn't deserve to ask questions. He stepped out of his shiny SUV, tossed his keys on the hood. $5,000 jacket. $1 million grin. Or more accurately, 12. You've lost your damn mind, I said, stunned. The land's still in my name. Not anymore, he shrugged. You signed a power of attorney last year. Remember? When we fixed the west fence line. I remembered the papers. I trusted him. Signed without reading. He said it was for insurance. For the repairs. He'd smiled then, the same way he was smiling now. Look, he added, we both know you can't run this place forever. Now you've got a warm place to retire, peace and quiet, no more stress. Peace? Retirement? It felt like he was already digging my grave. Lance, my grandson, saw my face from the porch and came running. Grandpa? You okay? I couldn't answer. Just whispered, go get me your grandma's box. The one from the attic. Now. Lance disappeared inside. I stared at the field. We'd finished the last plow a few days ago. The land lay dark and still, like a casket. But I knew what was in that box, a note in Mariah's handwriting. A declaration she made back in '86. We had it notarized ourselves, back when banks laughed at old farmers. She wrote, this land belongs to you, Brent. Only you. Never let anyone take it. She'd been gone 12 years. And now she was saving me again. When I opened that box, I didn't just find her note, I found something else. Something that wouldn't just save the farm, it would destroy Todd for good. The attic was freezing. Dust floated like smoke in the afternoon light as I opened the old cedar box. Mariah's handwriting danced across yellowed envelopes and brittle note cards, love letters, recipes, Bible quotes, and there, folded inside a crisp sheet of legal stationery, was the one thing I was praying to find. A notarized statement from November 28, 1986. This land belongs solely to Brent. My name in her hand. The rest written in that steady, no-nonsense tone she had. She drafted it after we paid off the final mortgage. We signed it together. She wanted it in writing just in case our kids ever got ideas. I'd called her paranoid. She was right. Is that it? Lance asked, leaning over my shoulder. Yeah, I whispered. That's it. This paper, it saves everything. But there was more. Tucked underneath was a second envelope, unopened, sealed in wax. Addressed, to be opened only if Brent is betrayed. My heart kicked against my ribs. I broke the seal. Inside was her letter. A real one. Not legal, not notarized, personal. 4 handwritten pages. She wrote it the year before she passed. Her handwriting shakier than usual, but still Mariah. If you're reading this, Brent, it means something's gone wrong. It means someone tried to take what we built. She knew. Somehow, she knew. She warned me that Todd was changing. That he'd started asking questions about ownership, finances, inheritance. That he seemed more interested in numbers than soil. She didn't trust him. And she asked me, begged me not to give him control, no matter what. Promise me, she wrote, if he ever tries to steal this land, you fight. Well, I was damn sure going to keep that promise. Lance was silent beside me. He lied to you, I said. He faked documents, manipulated me. Tried to bury me in paperwork. But now you've got proof, Lance said. I've got something better, I muttered. I've got motive. And now I've got a witness. Lance looked up. You mean me? You're the only one who still believes in this family. We went to the safe in my study. I put Mariah's letter and the notarized deed inside. Locked it tight. Took photos, scans, and stashed copies in 3 different places. And then I called the one person Todd didn't count on. Mariah's old friend Christine. She'd married a lawyer. A sharp one. He'd helped us with a land dispute back in the 90s, ruthless in court, loyal to friends. I explained everything. Sent him the photos. Forgery's hard to prove, he warned. But that notarized deed? That's your weapon. We laid out the plan. Thanksgiving dinner was still on. All the family would be there. Todd would be expecting applause for his business genius. But instead, we were going to turn the dinner table into a courtroom. And just before the turkey hit the table, I found out what Todd had really done, and it was worse than I ever imagined. The house was too quiet for the day before Thanksgiving. Usually by now, the kitchen would smell like Mariah's cinnamon rolls, the radio would be playing old country hits, and someone, probably Denise, would already be drinking wine just to test the bottle. But not this year. This year, every chair at the dinner table was a landmine. I'd spent the morning setting out the fine china we hadn't used since Mariah's funeral. She loved that set. Cream porcelain with gold trim. She said it made people sit straighter. I wanted that effect tomorrow. Wanted every fork, every napkin fold, every detail to whisper one thing. This is still my house. Lance was on the back porch sanding the old porch swing. Said he needed something to do with his hands. Truth was, he was angry and trying not to show it. The boy had inherited Mariah's fire, and it was burning hotter by the hour. I opened the guest list and read it again, even though I had it memorized. Todd and Lisa. They're twins. Denise and her boyfriend, some dentist from Billings who always wore loafers without socks. Mariah's cousin Christine. And of course, Lance. That made 10. 10 people sitting around the table, pretending to be a family. 10 people who didn't know what was about to hit them. I was still pacing the kitchen when my phone buzzed. Christine. Brent, she said, we've got a problem. I braced myself. What now? My husband called in a favor from a title officer. Your son didn't just file fake paperwork to sell the land. He already accepted the developer's down payment. My stomach dropped. He took money? $500,000 in escrow. Deal's closing in 6 days. It hit me like a shotgun blast to the chest. He'd already spent it in his head, probably told Lisa they were moving. Probably promised her ocean views and golf carts. He wasn't planning to ask me. He was planning to tell me after the check cleared. You still have the original notarized deed? Locked tight. Then we still have a chance. But Brent, if this goes to court, it'll be ugly. It could tear the whole family in half. I stared at the turkey thawing on the counter. Then it's gonna tear. I hung up and walked out to the barn, where Lance was oiling the hinges on the old stall doors. Change of plans, I said. Todd didn't just forge the transfer. He took a damn payment. Lance stood up slowly. So we're not just saving the farm anymore. No, I said. Now we're going to burn the lie to the ground. We worked late into the night. Cleaning. Preparing. Strategizing. I wrote a new seating chart with surgical precision. Todd across from me. Lance next to him. Christine on the flank. Every angle covered. And then I placed the sealed envelope, Mariah's deed and letter, under Todd's dinner plate. Let him serve himself his own betrayal. But at 11:43 p.m., just as I was locking up, I saw headlights in the driveway. And what I heard next made my blood run cold, because Todd wasn't alone. At first, I thought it was just Todd arriving early. Arrogant move, sure, but typical. But then I saw the second car. A sleek black Mercedes, headlights off, creeping up the driveway like it had something to hide. I killed the porch light and stood behind the curtain, just enough to see but not be seen. My heart thudded like a war drum. Lance was upstairs, probably asleep, and I didn't want to call out unless I had to. Todd got out first, still in that overpriced jacket, scrolling through his phone like he owned the world. Then the second driver stepped out. You ever get that cold, crawling feeling that starts at the base of your spine? That's what I felt when I saw him. It was a man in a tailored gray suit, briefcase in hand, and the kind of posture that screamed developer. So this was it. They were going to smooth things over before dinner. Try to talk me down. Or maybe threaten me. Either way, they'd picked the wrong night for a visit. I cracked the window, just enough to hear. You're sure he doesn't know? The suit asked. Todd scoffed. He's practically senile. Still writes checks by hand. The guy probably thinks we're here to fix the gutters. The man chuckled. You better hope so. If this deal doesn't close clean, my client's gonna want answers. And we don't play nice. I've got this, Todd said. He'll fold once I explain the numbers. Explain the numbers? To me? This land fed 3 generations. Built with calloused hands and sunburnt skin. I taught Todd to dig post holes right out back behind the silo, and now he was treating it like a spreadsheet. The two of them walked around the porch. I slipped out the back door and met them near the barn. I made sure the light hit my face first. You boys lost? I asked, voice steady. The developer froze. Todd jumped like he'd seen a ghost. Dad! I didn't think you'd still be up. You brought company, I said flatly. Planning to give him a tour? In the dark? Todd's eyes flicked to the developer, then back to me. He's just here to go over a few pre-closing logistics. Nothing major. I thought the farm wasn't officially sold until next week. Exactly, Todd said. Which means we're just preparing. Strategically. Strategically. I nodded. Got it. I turned to the man in the suit. You got a name? Mark DeWitt, he said, shifting uncomfortably. Land development. The Eastridge Project. Ah. There it was. The name. Eastridge. The development that'd replace my fields with stucco walls, asphalt paths, and cookie-cutter dreams. I looked him square in the eyes. You tell your client to pause the champagne. This land's not as yet. And it sure as hell isn't Todd's to give. Todd stepped forward. Dad, we don't need to do this now. Let's talk tomorrow. At dinner. Right. With the family. Over turkey. I stared at him. In your lies. The developer cleared his throat. If this is a dispute over paperwork, our legal team is about to get a surprise, I interrupted. Bring them. Hell, bring a judge. I'll bring the truth. I turned and walked back toward the house, the cold biting harder than ever. I didn't look back. But I heard the developer mutter something low and urgent to Todd. And I heard Todd say one thing that made me stop in my tracks. We may need to move the closing up. He's more dangerous than I thought. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, sipping black coffee out of Mariah's old ceramic mug, staring at the envelope under Todd's dinner plate. I could hear the wind outside, the kind that made barn doors groan and power lines hum. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote cried. It all sounded like a warning. But I wasn't scared. I was sharpening. At 6 a.m., Lance came downstairs. Hair a mess. Eyes alert. You saw them too? He asked. Yeah, I said. Todd and some developer. Eastridge Project. Said I was more dangerous than he thought. Lance actually grinned. That's the best compliment he's ever given you. We ate eggs in silence. No music. No news. Just the sound of forks scraping against plates. At 8 o'clock, Christine showed up with a fresh pie and fire in her eyes. I brought apple, she said. The kind Todd pretends to like. She handed me a folder. My husband drafted the counterclaim paperwork. You don't have to file yet, but we're ready the second you say the word. I'm saying it, I told her. She nodded. We'll bury them in it. By 10 o'clock, the house was spotless. Fireplace lit. Silverware gleaming. That dining room looked like a damn photograph from a Thanksgiving postcard. I even wore the suit Mariah bought me 20 years ago. Still fit, mostly. One by one, they started arriving. Denise came first, fake laughing at the door with her boyfriend, who shook my hand like I was a waiter. Lisa arrived with the twins, eyes puffy like she hadn't slept. She gave me a half-hearted hug. Todd said there's tension, she whispered. There's truth, I corrected. Make sure you can tell the difference. And then Todd. Sunglasses, designer coat, smile like a politician. He didn't even say hello. Just went straight to the twins, ruffling their hair like he was still the family man. Dinner's at 3, I called. Everyone be seated on time. He looked back. Nodded. Something in his face twitched. We all sat at the table like actors in a bad play. Turkey in the middle. Mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, stuffing. All of it perfect. Too perfect. I stood up and raised my glass. Before we carved the turkey, I said, I want to say something. Everyone went quiet. I know this family's been busy. We don't talk like we used to. We don't farm like we used to. Hell, we barely visit unless there's food involved. A few awkward laughs. But I also know something else. I looked straight at Todd. There's been betrayal. Behind closed doors. With papers. With money. With greed. He went pale. I reached under the table and pulled out the envelope. Slid it across the table to him. Open it. He didn't move. Todd. Open the damn envelope. He peeled it open. First the notarized deed. Then Mariah's letter. The room went dead silent. Lisa leaned in. Read the page. Her face turned to ash. Christine cleared her throat. That's a legal document. Fully binding. Filed and sealed before any of your fake paperwork ever hit a courthouse. Todd's hands trembled. You forged my signature, I said quietly. You stole. You lied. You tried to sell our legacy for a retirement in Arizona. I thought, Todd stammered. No, I snapped. You never thought. You just took. And then Lance stood up, pulled out his phone, and hit play, and the recording of Todd's late-night deal with the developer filled the room. The sound filled the dining room like a siren in a church. We may need to move the closing up. He's more dangerous than I thought. It was Todd's voice. Clear. Confident. Condescending. Lance held his phone steady, arms crossed over his chest. His jaw was set like steel. I recorded it last night. Thought you should all hear the kind of family man Todd's become. Gasps spread around the table like a ripple on a pond. Lisa dropped her fork. Denise's boyfriend leaned back so hard his chair squeaked against the hardwood. The twins just stared, confused but aware something bad was unfolding. Christine reached into her purse and set a copy of the deed next to Todd's wine glass. This is already with our lawyer. The county recorder's office will be getting a courtesy copy Monday morning. Todd looked like a man who just found out the floor under him was fake. Dad, he started, you've got this all wrong. I stood. No, son. I've got it exactly right. You lied. You forged. You sold our family for $12 million in a mortgage-free pool. He shook his head rapidly, trying to recover. It wasn't like that. You don't understand how deals like this work. I was protecting the family. By cutting us out? Lisa spoke then, her voice small but rising. You told me your dad gave you the land. That he wanted out. That he didn't want the stress anymore. I looked at her. That true, Todd? He couldn't meet my eyes. Christine stood now. Lisa, what your husband did is fraud. Wire fraud, real estate fraud, and elder abuse, depending on how far the DA wants to push it. The room spun. Denise stood up too, trying to calm things down. Maybe we should all just take a breath. No, I said. No more breathing. Not until he admits it. The silence was suffocating. And then, finally, Todd exhaled like a man defeated. I didn't mean for it to go this far, he said. I thought, if I could just get it closed, you wouldn't have to worry anymore. I'd take care of everyone. Lisa stared at him like she'd never seen him before. You lied to me, she whispered. You lied to your kids. Lance's voice cut in. He lied to Grandma, too. She left this farm in Dad's name for a reason. Todd looked up then, eyes bloodshot, red-faced and desperate. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? That I messed up? Fine. I'm sorry. Okay? But it's too late now. I narrowed my eyes. Too late for what? And that's when he said it. The money's gone. I already wired it to an offshore account. The money's gone. I already wired it to an offshore account. The words hit like a hammer to the ribs. Christine blinked. What did you just say? Todd adjusted his collar, sweat beading at his temples. It's protected. Just in case things didn't go the way I planned. I didn't want anyone trying to claw it back. Lisa stood up so fast her chair toppled over. You moved millions of dollars without telling me? That wasn't just your money, Todd. He looked at her, wounded. It was going to be ours. I was doing this for us. No, you were doing it for yourself, she snapped. You lied to your father, to me, to our kids. Lisa, sit down, he hissed through his teeth. No, her voice cracked. No, I won't. The twins sat frozen, eyes wide. Lance walked over and gently guided them out of the room. Christine opened her briefcase and pulled out a folder. This just went from civil to criminal. Brent, you have grounds to call the sheriff. Right now. I looked at Todd. My son. The boy I taught to ride a bike, to hold a fishing rod, to respect the land. He was sitting at my table like a stranger. Like a thief. I want one answer, I said quietly. What was the plan? After you sold everything? After you stole the money? What was your endgame? He stared at the table, jaw tight. Then, finally, I was going to move the family to Scottsdale. Buy a house, invest the rest. Live smart. You'd have a place in the guest house. Comfortable. You wouldn't need to worry about upkeep or taxes. It would have been easy. Easy for you, I said. Not for me. Not for this land. You thought I was the problem. Just some old stump in the way. He looked up, voice rising. You were. You held on to this place like it was sacred, but it's just dirt, Dad. Dirt and broken dreams. This land was dying and you refused to admit it. I stepped forward slowly. The room shrank. My voice dropped to a growl. This land raised you. Put food in your mouth. Paid for your college. Put a roof over your head while you chased stock tips and golf memberships. This dirt is what made you. Todd stood too, breathing hard. You don't understand the world anymore. You think hard work is enough. But it's not. Money wins. That's how things work now. No, I said. You only think it wins. Because you've never had to rebuild something with your bare hands. Christine stood. Brent, the sheriff's office is 10 minutes away. This level of fraud? They'll come. I turned to Todd one last time. You can walk out that door with your name. Or we call them and you leave in cuffs. Your choice. He stared at me for a long moment. Then, he smirked. You won't call them, he said. Because if I go down, I'm taking someone else with me. You won't call them, Todd said, voice low and smug. Because if I go down, I'm taking someone else with me. The room froze. Christine narrowed her eyes. Is that a threat? Todd shrugged. Call it what you want. I call it insurance. Lisa stepped back, arms crossed like she didn't even recognize the man standing in front of her. Who the hell are you talking about, Todd? He looked at her. Not with guilt. Not even fear. With calculation. Your name's on the new account too. Her mouth dropped open. Excuse me? The offshore one, he said. I had to list a cosigner. I put you down. You what? He smiled, like it was a checkmate. Now if the sheriff comes knocking, it's not just my signature on the wire transfer. It's yours too. So maybe let's not pretend I'm the only one in danger. Lisa stumbled back like she'd been slapped. You dragged me into your crime without even asking. You're my wife, he said, as if that justified everything. Everything we have is shared. You forged my name, Todd, she whispered. You forged mine too. Christine snapped the folder shut. Brent, we need to talk in private. Now. I motioned to the hallway, and the three of us stepped into the mudroom. Cold air seeped through the cracks around the door. He's bluffing, I muttered. He has to be. Christine shook her head. No, Brent. He's not. If Lisa's name is anywhere on that transfer, even if he forged it, the investigation pulls her in. Even a temporary freeze on their assets could ruin her job, her credit, her custody rights. This is dirty, but it's smart. Lance stepped into the hallway, quiet as a shadow. What if we flip it? Christine looked at him. What do you mean? Offer Todd a deal. Immunity from charges if he returns the money and signs over full rights to the farm. Permanently. He walks free, but he walks away forever. I stared at my grandson. You really think he'd take that? He's greedy, Lance said. Greedy men don't like cold cells. He'll fold if we make the consequences clear enough. Christine nodded slowly. It could work. But we need leverage. Something he's scared of more than losing his ego. I turned back toward the dining room. And then it hit me. Todd, I called. You might want to tell them about the second set of documents. His eyes snapped toward me. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. The backdated sale agreement. The one you filed with Mariah's forged signature. You think I don't know about that? Now it was his turn to go pale. That document is criminal, Christine said. Forgery of a deceased person's signature? That's prison time. Todd glanced between us, suddenly sweating again. You can't prove any of that. I don't have to, I said. All I have to do is say it. Let the county forensic team take it from there. You want them scanning ink and checking timestamps? He sat down hard. All the bravado gone. Lisa spoke quietly, but firmly. You dragged me into this. You dragged our kids into this. Now it's your turn to fix it. Todd buried his face in his hands. I want a full confession, Christine said. In writing. You sign over the farm, agree to return every penny. You disappear. And for the first time since this started, Todd didn't argue. He just nodded. But before Christine could draft the papers, my phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. Local area code. I picked up. A voice, calm and crisp. Mr. Brent, this is Sheriff Keller. I'm afraid we need you to come down to the station. There's been a development. Someone just tried to file a restraining order against you. A restraining order? I repeated. Against me? Sheriff Keller's voice was calm, but firm. Yes, sir. Filed anonymously, but it lists your son Todd as the petitioner. Claims you made violent threats over a property dispute. My grip tightened on the phone. Everyone in the room could hear the buzz of tension. Christine raised an eyebrow. "Put it on speaker." I did. "Sheriff," she said, "this is Christine Avery. I'm a legal representative for Brent. That order is not just false, it's a desperate attempt to manipulate an ongoing fraud investigation." "I figured something smelled wrong," the sheriff said. "That's why I'm calling instead of showing up at your door." I looked at Todd. He was staring at the floor. "Did you file it?" I asked, my voice dead steady. No answer. "Todd." He finally spoke, barely above a whisper. "My lawyer told me it could slow things down. By time. It was just a tactic." Christine scoffed. "That's not a tactic, that's perjury. You accused your father of being violent. Do you even realize what kind of legal grenade you just threw?" Todd looked up at me. "I didn't think they'd actually call." "Too late," I said. Sheriff Keller spoke again. "Brent, I suggest you come in anyway. We'll document your statement and make sure this stays clean. And off your record." "I'll be there within the hour," I replied. I hung up. Christine was already packing her files. "We go together. This won't stick, but it proves one thing: your son's willing to burn the whole house down to avoid losing." Lance nodded grimly. "Then it's time we build fireproof walls." But as I opened the front door to leave, Lisa grabbed my sleeve. "There's something else," she whispered. "Something Todd didn't tell you. That offshore account? He opened it, under your name." I froze in the doorway. "What do you mean he opened it under my name?" I asked Lisa. She looked pale. "I found the paperwork. In his drawer. He used your social security number, your driver's license, everything." Christine's eyes widened. "That's not just fraud. That's identity theft. That's federal." Lance stepped in, jaw clenched. He was trying to disappear with the money and make Grandpa look like the criminal. I turned back toward the dining room. Todd was still sitting at the table, his face buried in his hands. "Todd," I called. "Stand up." He didn't move. "You're not just a liar," I said. "You're a coward. You tried to burn down everything we built, and when it started catching fire, you threw my name in with the ashes. Still nothing." Christine stepped beside me, whispering, "Brent, if what Lisa says is true, the feds are going to want a piece of this." "I hope they take a big one," I muttered. Lisa walked over to Todd, pulled out the drawer from her bag, and dropped the copies of the forged documents in front of him. "You used your father's identity," she said, "to hide money you stole from him." Todd finally looked up. Red-eyed. Hollow. "I didn't know what else to do," he mumbled. Everything was slipping away. I walked right up to him. "It was never yours to hold in the first place." Christine leaned toward me. "We need to get to the sheriff before Todd tries anything else. And bring that paperwork." Lance grabbed the folder. I turned to Lisa. "You staying?" She shook her head. "I'm taking the kids to my sister's. They don't need to see what happens next." As we stepped outside, the air bit colder than before. Snow flurries began drifting down. Like the land itself knew winter had come early. We climbed into Christine's SUV and started toward the station. But halfway down the dirt road, her phone lit up. She glanced at the screen, then swore under her breath. "What?" I asked. "That offshore account," she said. "It was just emptied 10 minutes ago." 10 minutes ago? I repeated. "Are you sure?" Christine nodded, eyes fixed on her phone. Bank flagged the activity. Offshore account cleared. All funds withdrawn in a single transfer. Lance leaned forward from the back seat. "To where?" Christine shook her head. "They masked the destination. Some kind of shell operation. This isn't just desperate. This was planned." My stomach turned. That money, blood money or not, represented the noose Todd had tied around our necks. And now it was gone. Christine was already dialing her husband. We need a financial trace on an overseas wire. Top priority. She glanced at me. The feds are going to be interested now. Whether you want them or not. I stared out the window, past the snowy fields. This wasn't about saving the farm anymore. This was survival. Todd had gone from greedy to criminal, and now he was vanishing the evidence. We pulled into the sheriff's station just as the first real snow started falling. Sheriff Keller met us at the door. "Didn't take you long," he said. "We've got more than just a false restraining order," Christine said. "Brent's identity has been compromised. His son funneled millions into a fake account in his name. And now it's been emptied." Keller didn't flinch. "Come inside. We're starting the file now." We gave our statements. Handed over every document. Christine recorded everything. Dates. Signatures. Even Lisa's eyewitness testimony. After 2 hours, Sheriff Keller leaned back in his chair. "This is serious. And it's going federal." I nodded. "Just tell me one thing. Can he get away with it?" Keller narrowed his eyes. "Not if we catch him first." That's when Christine's phone buzzed again. She stared at the screen. Her mouth tightened. "Now what?" I asked. She turned the screen to show me a photo of Todd. At the airport. One-way ticket in hand. The photo on Christine's phone showed Todd standing near a terminal gate, one hand in his coat pocket, the other gripping a small black carry-on. I zoomed in. Gate 9B. Flight 642. Departing in 40 minutes. "Where's that flight headed?" I asked. Christine's husband texted her the answer before she could respond. "Panama," she read aloud. "No extradition treaty." Sheriff Keller muttered a curse under his breath. "Looks like your son's not just running, he's running smart." Lance stepped forward, already dialing. "I'll call airport security. They can flag his ticket, stop him at the gate." "Too risky," Keller said. "If he senses it, he'll vanish. We need someone inside the terminal. Quiet. Someone he won't see coming." I didn't hesitate. "I'll go." Christine looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "Brent, you're not a bounty hunter. You're not law enforcement." "No," I said. "I'm a father. And I'm done watching him destroy everything from a distance." Keller hesitated, then handed me a sheriff's badge. "It won't give you authority, but it might buy you time. Flash it if you have to." 25 minutes later, I was in my truck, tearing down the highway toward the airport. The snow was picking up, swirling like white fire across the blacktop. I hadn't driven that fast since Mariah went into labor with Denise in the back seat. I parked illegally and ran through the sliding doors, heart hammering like a freight train. The terminal smelled like coffee, jet fuel, and desperation. I scanned the crowd. And there he was, Todd, pacing near the gate, eyes darting from his phone to the digital clock overhead. I walked up behind him, slow, steady, controlled. My voice was calm, but it sliced like a blade. "Going somewhere, son?" He turned. Saw me. And for the first time since this whole storm began, I saw real fear in his eyes. "Dad. You used my name. You stole my legacy. You tried to ruin your mother's memory. And now, you're running." "I had no choice," he said. "They were coming for me. They still are." I pulled out the envelope, not the deed, not the letters. Something new. Christine's document, a last-minute offer. Full confession. Return what's left. Cooperate. No jail, but permanent exile. "You sign this now," I said, "or the next face you see will be a U.S. Marshal." He looked down at it. His hands shook. And then the boarding call echoed through the terminal. And Todd bolted, sprinting toward the gate, leaving the past, and his father, behind him. He ran. Not walked, not slipped away, ran. Full sprint, like a man whose whole world was about to close in on him. I took off after him. 65 years old, bum knee, stiff back, didn't matter. Adrenaline erased every ache. "Todd!" I shouted. "Don't be stupid." But he didn't look back. He just ducked under a rope line and cut toward the boarding tunnel. Security was shouting now. A TSA agent blew a whistle. Someone grabbed a radio. Passengers turned, murmuring, backing away. He made it to the gate door. But it didn't open. Denied. I caught up to him just as he slammed his fist against the locked gate. "This is over," I said, panting hard. "You don't get to disappear." He turned, chest heaving. His coat half off, hair wild, eyes bloodshot. "I was going to fix everything," he rasped. "You don't understand." "No, Todd," I said. "You don't." 2 TSA agents grabbed him. He didn't resist. Just stared at me like I'd betrayed him somehow. "You ruined me," he muttered. "No," I said, "you did that all by yourself." I handed the agents my badge and Christine's document. "He's wanted for identity theft, real estate fraud, and attempting to flee jurisdiction. You might want to hold on to him." They nodded. "Cuffed him right there on the spot." As they led him away, Todd turned one last time. "You always loved the farm more than me," he said. "No," I said. "I just never loved lies." He disappeared around the corner. It was done. Or so I thought. Back at the sheriff's station, Christine met me at the door. "They've got him in holding," she said. "But there's something else." I raised an eyebrow. "What now?" She held up her phone. The bank traced the final transfer. It didn't go offshore. "Then where?" Christine hesitated. "To a domestic account. Small credit union in-state." "And?" She took a breath. "The account belongs to Denise. Your daughter's been helping him the whole time." I stared at Christine like I hadn't heard her right. "Denise?" I said slowly. "My daughter Denise?" She nodded grimly. "Same social, same address. The transfer landed in an account she opened 6 months ago under her maiden name." I sank into the nearest chair, my legs suddenly led. Todd was one thing. He'd always chased money like it could buy him meaning. But Denise? She was the quiet one. The one who cried hardest at Mariah's funeral. The one who held my hand when the bank nearly took the barn in '09. "I need to talk to her," I said. "She's already on her way here," Christine replied. "We called her before telling you." "She doesn't know we know." 10 minutes later, Denise walked into the station with that same breezy laugh she used at every holiday dinner. Only this time, it sounded fake. Hollow. She hugged me. I didn't hug her back. "Something wrong, Daddy?" Christine stepped in. "Let's not play games, Denise. We traced the missing funds. They landed in your account." Denise blinked. "What?" No, that's not right. It's your name. Your bank. Your signature," Christine snapped. "So if it wasn't you, who was it?" Denise's eyes flicked to me, then to Christine, then back. Her mask cracked. "I didn't want to be involved," she whispered. "Todd said it was just temporary. That he'd move it back once things cooled down." I crossed my arms. "And you believed him?" She didn't answer. "You funneled stolen money," Christine said. "You helped cover up a felony." "I didn't know it was stolen." Denise cried. "I thought it was from the land sale, that it was all going to be split anyway." Christine raised an eyebrow. "And you just opened a secret account out of generosity?" Tears welled in Denise's eyes. I was tired of being left out. Todd always got everything. You trusted Lance more than me. You looked at me like I was furniture. "No," I said quietly. "I looked at you like my daughter. I just never thought I had to look through you." The silence was unbearable. Christine spoke next. If you cooperate, testify against Todd, return the funds, I can try to keep your name off the final report. Denise nodded slowly. Okay. I'll give it back. I'll tell the truth. But just as we began the paperwork, Sheriff Keller stepped into the room, jaw tight. There's a problem, he said. Todd's gone silent in the holding cell, refusing to answer anything. Christine frowned. He knows he's cornered. No, Keller said. He's not scared. He's smiling. And he just asked for one phone call, to a number registered under Denise's name. The room felt 10 degrees colder after Sheriff Keller's words. Todd had asked for one call and dialed Denise. Christine spun on her heels. He's still working her. Denise went white. I didn't know I haven't spoken to him since the transfer, I swear. You sure about that? Keller asked. Denise hesitated. Just long enough. Christine grabbed her coat. I want to hear that call. We followed Keller through 2 security doors, down a narrow hallway that smelled like bleach and bureaucracy. Inside the observation room, a recording was already playing. Todd's voice came through the speaker, low and slick. They think they've won. But it's not over unless you let it be. Silence. Then Denise's voice. What do you want me to do? Christine hit pause. I stared at my daughter through the glass. You lied again. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I didn't mean to. I thought I could fix it without dragging you into it. Too late, Keller said flatly. Christine pressed play. The account's still yours, Todd whispered. They don't know about the second wire. The one I sent this morning. I leaned in. What second wire? You still have it. You can vanish, D. Take the kids. Start fresh. Just don't show up in court. That's all I need. No testimony, no trail. Christine's eyes flared. He's buying her silence. The audio clicked off. Denise collapsed into a chair, face in her hands. I can't do this, she sobbed. I didn't want this. You still have that money? I asked. She nodded, barely. How much? She whispered it. 2 million. My fists clenched. And you were just going to disappear? Let him walk free while we burned. I didn't know what to do. Keller pulled out a form. You have 2 choices, full cooperation, or accessory charges. Decide fast. Denise looked at me. Dad. No, I said. Don't dad me. Not now. Christine pushed a pen in front of her. Your signature. Your confession. Right now. Denise stared at it. Her hand shook. And just as she picked up the pen, an officer burst through the door. Sheriff. Todd's gone. He escaped. Escaped? I shouted. How the hell does that happen in a sheriff's station? The officer was breathless. He faked a panic attack, demanded a medic. Grabbed the EMT's scissors when they came in. Slipped through the back garage during the confusion. He's gone. Christine was already pulling out her phone. I'll notify federal marshals. Sheriff Keller cursed under his breath. We've locked down all roads, but if he's smart, he'll already be in motion. Denise looked like she was about to faint. He's going to come after me. You think he'll hurt you? Keller asked. She nodded slowly. If I sign this, I'm the last loose end. Christine didn't flinch. Then sign it. And we'll protect you. Denise scribbled her name, tears streaking her cheeks. Keller took the document and locked it in an evidence envelope. From here, he said, the FBI handles it. Hours passed. Helicopters buzzed overhead. Roadblocks went up. No one knew where Todd was, not yet. That night, I sat on the porch with Lance. Snow falling again. The house finally quiet. No shouting. No lies. You think they'll catch him? He asked. I nodded. Sooner or later. Men like that don't survive in the wild. They're predators in cages, but cowards in open country. He handed me a mug of coffee. You kept the farm. I looked out over the land. The barn. The field. The oak tree where Mariah's ashes were scattered. Everything she and I built still here. I didn't just keep it, I said. I earned it all over again. Lance smiled. And the family? I shook my head. That's going to take longer. Denise agreed to testify. The money was returned. Lisa filed for divorce. Todd was spotted 3 states over 2 weeks later, arrested at a gas station using a fake ID. He never even made it to Panama. The trial made headlines. But I didn't go for revenge. I went for peace. Mariah once told me, blood doesn't make family. Loyalty does. She was right. The next Thanksgiving, we set one less place at the table. But the laughter was real. The gratitude, honest. And when Lance stood to carve the turkey, he looked at me and said, "This land's still ours." Because he never let go. And I knew, finally, that I hadn't lost a son. I'd found a legacy. If you like this story, please like this video. Subscribe to the channel and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right.